It is 10:31 on this Sunday morning, the 17th of June. Pete Fornatal with you at WNEW-FM with my special guest this morning, Jon Stewart.
Morning, Pete.
Pretty.
Thanks, Pete. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good morning, Jon Stewart.
Good morning. Chuck McDermott here on my right.
Yes, giving credit where credit is due. Chuck played with you last night at
Folk City.
At Folk City. We were both working last night.
You gotta work. You gotta keep it going.
But I'm doubly appreciative because I know how my weary bones feel this morning after dragging it in about 2 a.m. and then getting back on the road this morning at 6. I imagine you did something similar to be here, and we appreciate it.
It's great to have radio and a radio show that you can do this on.
There ain't many, are there?
I know of one, okay?
Okay, we'll talk about that later. John, people tend to forget that your legacy in music covers a good many years and a good many different hats, different aspects of music over the years. Where did it all start out? What led you in this direction in the first place?
Elvis Presley.
Really?
Yeah, when I was in high school. I heard Elvis and my whole life changed. I bought a guitar, and as soon as I learned to play 3 chords, I started writing songs. It just started coming out, and I had a band called The Furies, a rock band in high school, and we do Elvis songs and Buddy Holly and Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis. And then I heard folk music, and I heard the Kingston Trio and the Weavers. I was going into college then, and I didn't need drums, I didn't need a bass, and the songs were full of life and adventure and color and fun choruses, so I started doing folk music then.
What was the first break for you, the real breakthrough, so to speak?
First break was when the Kingston Trio did one of my songs, Molly D. And I was just first year of college, just getting out of high school then, and wondering what I was going to do with my life. And they recorded the song, and within 5 or 6 months, I had this incredibly large royalty check coming in, and I said, are you kidding? this is the promised land. Am I going to be an accountant, right, and wait a year to make this? So I just totally dropped college and went on the road as a folk duo, John and Monty, an act as exciting as its name. And stayed in touch with the trio. They did another one of my songs. And then Frank Werber, the manager of the Kingstons, called me and said, Roulette Records in New York wants a folk group. And I said, well, John and Monty. He said, no, you need to be a trio. Can you put it together? I said, by when? He said, by Wednesday. And I said, I'll try. So I called, believe it or not, my choir teacher at Pomona Catholic High School. I knew played the stand-up bass and was dying to get in the show business. And he said, yeah. And he left his job. And we got on an airplane for New York, and we rehearsed in the first-class section and went in and played for Roulette for them and toured with Shelley Berman. And I moved to New York and lived here for a year. And then when Dave Guard left the Kingston Trio, they knew that I was tall and played the banjo and played guitar and told jokes. And I went back out to California with my wife, who was then pregnant. And we had a gig at the Hungry Eye with the Cumberland Three at that time. And Gil Robbins had just left the group, so it was myself and Mike Settle and nobody. Travis Edmondson said he'd fill in for us. And poor Mike was staying in this hotel waiting to see if I got the gig with the trio. And when I got the gig, Mike went, well, I'm going back to New York. And it was just the homeless people flying around.
But that was a devil of a position to be put in a sense, replacing the beloved and original member of the group. How'd you handle it?
Just complete naivete. I was so gullible. I was so filled with folk music, and at that age, you think you can do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I had that kind of brass now.
Don't we all, yeah.
You know, of course I can do it. You know, I know the parts. What's the question? You go, you sing them, you get up there, and everyone loves it. Great. And then once I got into the gig, once I started doing it, it was a different story. It was the hard part to handle was everyone wanted to be your friend all of a sudden. And you started questioning your friends. You started getting suspicious and a bit of a snot and withdrawn. And there you are in the middle, going from being a struggling folkie to the number one group, missing all those steps in between was... there was no way to win. I remember the first album, within 10 days, was number 2 on the charts. And I said, whoa! And Frank Werber said, no, it should have been number 1. So there was no way to win. All I could do was perpetuate what already was, and that was fine. That was adequate.
But you added something to them and, in a sense, revitalized the thing, especially in the years as they progressed, and had a good run with it, too, right?
7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
What finally led to your departure?
Hanging around the village with Phil Oakes and Eric Anderson and being a songwriter and seeing the singer-songwriter era coming that Dylan started and really wanting to do that and seeing the group go on and seeing there was really nowhere to go and with it. We were doing as much as we could do. And knowing that if I was going to do it, if I was going to start it, I wanted to start it before I was 30 on my own again. And so I said, I got to do something else.
But starting over, in a sense, all over again.
It was, because when I would do gigs where they would advertise John Stewart, formerly of the Kingston Trio, people would show up expecting to hear Where Have All the Flowers Gone and Tom Dooley, and I was singing July, You're a Woman in Mother Country, and I wanted to shed that. Because I'd gotten a lot of flack with the trio that I hadn't paid my dues from Glenn Campbell and Tommy Smothers and those people. And I wanted to go out and pay them. And did. You know, I played to 4 or 5 people a night for a long time. So the trio at that point was sort of, I won't say an embarrassment, it was a thorn in my side, which is subsequently, it is not anymore. I'm very proud of the fact I was with them.
Sure. They're beyond going in and out of fashion at this point, even today, even that reunion special on PBS was one of the most emotional experiences.
It was for me.
Well, it was for the viewers, and I'm sure it was for the participants as well.
It was so much fun, Pete. after dabbling in rock and roll and the heaviness of it, and going back and singing those songs again, it was just so much fun. It was so easy. One mic. The trio sang around one mic the whole 7 years. No instrument mic. We'd go up, no monitors. We didn't know monitors. We'd go up and we'd do a sound check. No, we didn't do a sound check. It was one mic. We just go out and play. And it was no buses, no equipment trucks, no roadies, none of the trappings. And it was so much fun.
And it worked like crazy.
And it worked.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't mean to spring this on you because we didn't talk about it, but is there a piece of material from those days that you're still comfortable with and still doing, perhaps?
I just started putting a lot of them back in the show. We do several trio songs in the show now, and I took the banjo out again. We do Cold Tattoo and Chilly Winds and Roddy McCorley. And
do you have one you might want to lay on?
We could do Chilly Winds? Sure.
Great.
This is a song I wrote with John Phillips.
How'd that connection come about, John?
He was on the scene, and he was a real up-and-comer, very bright guy. He was sort of the Tom Goodkind of his day. He knew exactly what he wanted and was out to do it. And they're terrific, by the way. The Washington Squares came around and sat in with us last night.
I understand that, and of course I worked with them the other evening at the Ritz, and, well, you didn't work with Dave Guard, but you succeeded Dave Guard. And
I have worked with Dave. Dave and I have become good friends.
Sure.
But this is a song from that college concert album. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That is John Stewart with Chuck McDermott on Mixed Bag at WNEW-FM in New York. Just to show you the staying power of the visual image, I felt that I should come in like Tommy Smothers and do some... That was a wonderful part of that special that we referred to earlier. John, I told you I was going to ask you about the Lindsey Buckingham connection. He accompanied you at the
Sounds
reunion.
like a Michael Caine movie, right?
He was there at the special, but the story goes back even further than that, and you told it on the show, in fact. Would you tell it again for us?
Nick and I were, Nick Reynolds from the trio. It was a few years ago, long time ago. We were wanting to do something together, and he came down, and we were talking to record companies. He was staying at my house. And it was at this time that the first Fleetwood Mac album with Lindsey and Stevie came out. And someone recommended we get it, and we were playing it all summer long. And as we were playing it, Nick and I looked at each other, and we said, "Do you hear what I hear? This sounds real familiar." And I was trying to play electric guitar at that time and having no success at all. And I heard Lindsey play, and I heard that he was playing it like a banjo. He was playing banjo lines. I said, well, geez, I could do that. So I started copying Lindsey's guitar parts. And looking for a producer to do my album, I found that Lindsey was the guy that did records the way I thought they should be done. So I checked out Lindsey and found that he had learned to play guitar from Kingston Trio albums. So when Lindsey and I met each other, we couldn't look each other in the eye for 3 months. It was the most unbearable situation. He would come over and we would look at our shoes and stammer and run into doors, and it was awful. But a terrific guy, and it's been a great help on everything I've done. And a brilliant guitar player. And he comes in, and Chuck and I just sit there with our mouths open. I mean, he throws away licks that other players would work years to feature. And very sensitive guy, and very talented guy, and really a folkie who made it.
Sure.
And it's one of the few to come out and say, yeah, I learned from the Kingston Trio. It wasn't blind wolf or, all that baloney,
I've got two thoughts, though. With the two of you, it was awe going in both directions, which is nice when that happens. And the other thing is, there are people in rock and roll, a good many of them, in fact, who do acknowledge, maybe at this point, maybe there was a time when you couldn't, just like there was a time when it wasn't fashionable to like the Beach Boys either, that sort of thing. But there are many who have come out and said that they did learn guitar playing or the desire to perform from the Kingston Trio. Joe Walsh comes to mind as someone who has gone on the record in that way. And that's the way it is. It just keeps getting passed down and down and down.
Of course. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned wanting to work together with Nick again, and that, of course, has happened, hasn't it?
We did a record together this summer as a duo. First time we'd worked together in the studio in 16 years. And when we just laughed for 10 days. It was just one big party, and Lindsey came in and played. And Nick I tell you, it took about 1 day for him to get his studio chops back, and he was terrific.
The album that came out of that is called Revenge of the Budgie, and it is out and available, but...
Well, it's out. Whether it's available or not is the question.
It is suffering the plight these days of, this is not Thriller, and therefore it gets lost in the shuffle somewhere.
What's on Allegiance Tacoma, which is akin to being assigned to the Titanic,
Little indictment there?
Nice.
No, I can't say anything. I say something nice about them. They have found a way not to sell records and still stay in business, which I think is a new testimony to capitalism in some way.
Let me ask you then, put it to you directly. How do you, as an artist, get around those kinds of obstacles?
Very easily. It's a rite of passage into adulthood. I quit trying to wait for other people to do it. And I started my own label, and Chuck and I are working on it now, Homecoming Records. And we've been talking for a long time about the situation of going on the road and playing to people who love the kind of music we do, and people like us who grew up with Elvis and the Kingston Trio and the Beatles and James Taylor and that era, who all of a sudden are forgotten by the record market. totally directed at the youth market, as if this generation that grew up loving music doesn't matter anymore. And we would wait for records to buy and not see them anymore, and just want something that would fit into our lives again. And we said, why don't we do it? And we took a look at the cost of doing it. And if you have your homework done, you can do an album very cheaply.
Mm-hmm.
And there are distributors out there who do work hard, who will get the records to the stores. And there are radio shows, thank God, like yours. And we let the people know who want this kind of music that they will again go into record stores, because music is not a luxury. Music is a necessity, and we need it. We grew up with it, and we should have it.
Hear, hear. What kinds of things are you doing on Homecoming, John, and how can our listeners find out more about it?
We are doing, first of all, we have an album out on Homecoming called The Gathering. That is a collection album of 4 pieces that will be coming out this year. 2 albums of mine. I did an instrumental album, and a group called Horizon Ford, beautiful singing female duo, and Bruce Abrams, this terrific guitar player, does Irish folk ballads. And that's only the beginning. The first music we're doing is really, Pete, it's music to put on in the morning, driving to work, when friends are over. It's music to make you just slow down for a minute and feel good. The concept that the music has to excite and make you nervous, we feel is not true. Music can soothe you and still be valid music. And then from there, we're doing a group called the MFQ this summer, who were legendary band in L.A. They're going to do an album of traditional Hawaiian music and beautiful 4-part harmony.
Modern folk quartet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know of them?
Sure.
Yeah.
Didn't Dave?
Yeah, Dave worked with them.
Yeah. Dave Gordon.
And we're doing an American Journey series, real American music, acoustic. And I'm doing an album called The Last Campaign. The songs that I wrote during and following the campaign with Robert Kennedy in '68. And they're not really songs about Kennedy, but about the people that the campaign attracted, the people of the heartland, the people that really are the backbone of the country and are really the character. If New York is the brains of the country and California is the spirit, then the Midwest is the heart and the backbone. And there's some old songs like Cody and Oldest Living Son and Pirates of Stone County Road, and some new songs too, but done very simply. A couple of acoustic guitars and little string line on it, and done I want to put back in records areas that you can fill in with your own imagination what you would hear there, because we've been so assaulted by overproduced records that we now know any part that would go on a record. So why not leave some holes in there that kind of give an air to your morning or to your afternoon?
Again, I ask you the question, how can your New York fans find out more about Homecoming?
Well, dear, if you have your pencils out there, and we will repeat the address, we have a mailing list that we're keeping in contact with people who want to know more about Homecoming. And it's P.O. Box 2050, Malibu, California, Malibu, Malibu, California, 90265, 7050. That's P.O. Box 2050, Malibu, California, 90265, 7050.
John, is there one of your newer things that you and Chuck can do for us?
Sure. What would that be, Jack? Can we do something from the last campaign?
Sure.
This is, we're just finishing up this album. What's really fun to do, Pete, is to get away from the structure of the 3-minute song and what you think they will play on the radio and what you think the record company, what they think should be on the radio. And then once you do it, they don't play it on the radio. And you've done this 3-minute tune that you didn't even want to do in the first place. Sky made us feel like the river running free.
I die, bring the wheels that deliver restless me, yeah, restless me. Clack, 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 train rolling down the track, carry me home, back where I belong. Let me in a clack, 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 and the train is rolling down the track, carry me home, back where I belong. Peter, we got it. Sycamores grow in the long planted roads out there to break the April wind. Still the dust always blows and rising in our clothes, and it's in our very souls like a song about me and Jim. Back of my hand started looking like a man's way back when I was only 10. Still the lonesome in me cries like a little boy sometimes, and you can hear it scream when they come on screaming like the wind. Me and Jim were getting thin, and fare thee well to him, and fare thee well now, Mama, gonna take good care of him. Me and Jim were getting thin, and fare thee well to him, but there ain't nowhere to run for the oldest living son.
But right now, a man who hasn't been with us for too long of a time. He's been the guest of ours 2 or 3 times on the Mountain Stage, but it's been quite a few years, so I was glad to see he was available to come back on the show. He's got a new old record that is a re-release of a record that was made back in the early 80s called Wires from the Bunker on Appleseed Records. This man has been in the limelight and in the spotlight for over 4 decades now. His songs have been recorded by an interesting group of people. It's perfect for us on the Mountain Stage. Here's a short list of some of the people who have recorded Jon Stewart's songs. Harry Belafonte, Pat Boone, Roseanne Cash, Joan Baez, the Monkees, Nancy Griffith, the Four Tops, the Violent Femmes, Beat Farmers. He's going to do some tunes that are on that new old record right now, and the Mountain Stage band going to help him out. Please welcome back to the Mountain Stage, Jon Stewart.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Larry. Thank you so much. Great to be here, Larry. Thank you.
bring you down. And I know somebody's daughter, she didn't mean wrong when she said those things. She's the oil in the water, yeah. She was an angel who had found her wings. And when your love's gone early in the morning, yeah. And when your love's gone early in the day. And when your love's gone along around midnight, yeah. And when your love's gone, okay, it's the American way. Sometimes when the world goes round, oh, there's one light that I was believing, yeah. I said that dream girls never bring you down. And when your love's gone early in the morning, yeah. And when your love's gone early in the day. And when your love's gone along around midnight, yeah. And when your love's gone, okay, it's the American way. And when your love's gone early in the morning, yeah. And when your love's gone early in the day. Thank you so much. Thanks to the band, Ralph in the Bushes. That's one of the things about getting older. You start writing songs about getting older. You write not only about what you love, but what you're most afraid of, and you realize that most of the things that you thought you would do it in your life that you'll probably never do, but they still make good dreams to hang on to. As if I had all the time in the world, and I had all the world in my time. They're dreams that I'm keeping inside, like verses that never would rhyme. And I dream I'll make movies in Spain, photograph dancers in flight, as I'm watching the dreams running down, and I live in available light, and I still dream I will walk on the moon. If the moon isn't holding me down, racing the future through fields, with the moonlight igniting the ground. And all the young girls are light years away, and they seem to be browsing through time, but not one you know can compare with the heart of this true love of mine. And in the waters of all of my tears, the reflections of beautiful times, and my arms, they holding the wings of angels I'm hoping to find. And I still dream I will walk on the moon. If the moon isn't holding me down, racing the future through fields, with moonlight igniting the ground. Friends who were here, now they're gone. And why does it happen so soon? And as they were closing their eyes, did they dream they'd still walk on the moon? And I still dream I will walk on the moon. If the moon isn't holding me down, and racing the future through fields, with moonlight igniting the ground. And I still dream I will walk on the moon. If the moon isn't holding me down, and I'm racing the future through fields, with moonlight igniting the ground. Thank you very much.
Good to see John again. The new old record on Appleseed, the re-release on Appleseed, is called Wires from the Bunker. Her little sample from that, something old and something new there from John Stewart, one of the old pros in this business.
This man, he's going to introduce himself with a song called One-Eyed Joe. Please welcome folk music legend and musician extraordinaire John Stewart to the Woodsong's Old Time Radio.
Lightning strikes in the summertime, yeah. One-eyed Joe, a friend of mine, now he's gone. Yeah, moving down the line. One-eyed Joe, yeah,
and he's on the borderline. Sideways Sally was his girlfriend's name. She can dance like a monkey chain. Now she's gone, oh, she's moving down the line. One night Joe is on the borderline. Joe is a wanted man. He can go down to Birmingham, but now he's gone. He's moving down the line. One night Joe, he's on the borderline.
That's fun. It's from a CD called Tanforan. The song is One-Eyed Joe. Jon Stewart, thanks for coming.
Thank you, Michael. Thank
Boy,
you.
what a career you've had. 20-year-old kid, and you get a phone call in 1961. Some friend of yours.
Very lucky guy.
And tell us what happened.
I had written some songs that the Kingston Trio had recorded, Molly D and Green Grasses, and I was just 1 year out of high school. And Molly D was on an album called Here We Go Again, and it went to #1 right away and stayed there a while, sold over 1 million copies. And I was living at home at the time, see? And my dad was a horse trainer, and he didn't like the kids much. In fact, they built another room on the house so he didn't have to see us. That was kind of the vibe that was going there. So the first check I got, the first royalty check, writer's royalties, was for $20,000. That was more than my dad made in a year. And he just shook his head. He just stood there, poor old man, just stood there and shook his head. And I went out and bought a car and left home and told Mom, I'll send you some money.
Did Dad become a big fan of yours?
He said he did. He told the boys around the racetrack, he said, yeah, I tried to help him as best I could.
You know,
and they go, yeah, Johnny, right. But anyway, so I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
This matters, of course, to our hometown crowd, but your dad was a Lexington man.
He's born in Lexington, Kentucky.
There you go. Now we're going to get into your whole story with the Kingston Trio, and then
goes right to it.
Yeah, all the stuff that you did is amazing. But I want to get back into the music. We've got interesting CD titles between John Kay and yourself. This album is called Punch the Big Guy.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
that's right.
The song is Ticket to the Stars. It's Jon Stewart on the Woodsongs Old Time Radio Hour.
Yeah, there is a tree, and it runs by my room.
and it wakes me up in the middle of the night at the arc of the rising moon. Says, do you know who you are? And do you know where you're going? Will you survive in the fire when the wind is blowing? Oh, there is a train, and it runs by my room, and the train is called reality, and it's coming way too soon. Oh, way too soon for a guy who's living on the lies, who's looking for the shortcut and the secret to survive. There are forces to guide you, spirits beside you, and rivers to ride you home to the stars. And there are forces to guide you, and spirits beside you, and there are rivers to ride you home to the stars. There is a voice shouting in my head. There is a voice that is singing there instead, and there is a choice. Oh, to which one will I listen? Oh, the one the road was long and hard, but the other road would glisten. Yeah, not a day goes by that I don't think I'm crazy, and not a day goes by when the answers don't seem hazy. Oh, sometimes I'm lost and I'm down and out, and I'm lost and lazy. And if I were lost in the middle of the light, you know it would surely save me. Would be saving a guy who is living on the lies, looking for the shortcut and the secret to survive. And there were forces to guide you, and spirits beside you, and there's rivers to ride you home to the stars. And there are forces to guide you, and spirits beside you, and rivers to ride you home to the stars. Never dying in the stars, going home to the stars. Get your ticket 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 to the stars.
Speaking of someone who's toured endlessly and written songs for an endless array of artists, let's welcome Jon Stewart back to the stage. John, got two Johns on the show. So you're this kid fresh out of high school, you get a phone call, suddenly you find yourself in the Kingston Trio, and your first gig is in front of like 20,000 people.
Hollywood Bowl, yeah. 2 nights, Hollywood Bowl, 40,000 people.
That must have like...
I'm not even shaven yet, you know, so it's...
Yeah, you're just a
it's
kid.
pucker time at the Old Corral.
So what was it like to be in the Kingston Trio? They had already had some of their success, some of their success with your songs, as a matter of fact, but they were known around the world already, and you kind of joined the party.
Yeah, how about that? It was they were a huge group. They had Tom Dooley, MTA, Tijuana Jail, and Dave Guard, a friend of mine, left the group, and I stepped in. And I remember when they called me at the hotel in Sausalito and said, "Well, Picker, you got the job." I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel sad. I just didn't feel anything.
Well, you already made a $20,000 royalty check. You didn't care.
Yeah, well, that'll last you a few years. It was my dream to join the Kingston Trio, and you know, the old cliche was anything worse than not getting your dream was getting your dream, and it kind of felt that way when I got the job. And the next night, we went up to had pictures taken at Frank Werber's house, our manager, and he lived up on the hill in Kentfield, and there was a pool, and the house then surrounded the pool with the big bay windows. And we were standing there, and I looked up, and I saw Bob and Nick and me in the striped shirts,
And this chill went up my spine, and this is not right. This is not right. I'm going to wake up, or they're going to throw me out of here or something. But they were very kind to me, and there was a dispute about the name, who was going to own the name, Dave Guard or Nick and Bob. And I was ready to go. I was ready to go on the road, and I'd pack, and they said, "No, John, you can't go today." So they come back, and we'd rehearse, and then it happened for like 2 months. So I'd sit home and read and eat hamburgers, you know. And so I went on the road, and I was like,
big guy.
And it was like one big David Letterman show. It was band shows with laughs, you know, and I never had a better time in my life. It was just a circus.
Well, it wasn't too many years later, once you finally did go on the road and became an official member of the Kingston Trio and stuff, you're at a party, and a producer friend of yours says, "You know, there's a TV network, and they're putting together their own television rock and roll band. What kind of songs you got?" And you played him a song.
What was that, Midnight Special?
No. Talking about the inception of the Monkees.
Oh, the Monkees. Oh,
remember
yeah.
the Monkees?
Of course I remember the Monkees.
So who was
They used to open beers for us in the back of the truck. So, a fellow named Chip Douglas, a very talented guy, was up for Dave Guard's place in the Kingston Trio. And we both auditioned, we both got to know each other. And after that, he went and got a job producing the Monkees several years after that. And we were at a party, and he said, "Do you have any songs for the Monkees?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And I played him Daydream Believer, and he said, "That's it." He said, "Can you get me a tape tomorrow?" And I said, "Yeah." I sent him the tape. Within 4 days, he said, "Come back to New York, we're going to cut it." Went back. And the studio was ringed with young girls outside, and I went in. Davey was singing the vocal, and then he played the song back to me at shattering volume. I said, "Oh, Chip, that's a hit song." He said, "That's a hit song, man." And within a month, it was #1 around the world.
And Jon Stewart wrote Daydream Believer. Isn't that fun?
I was nothing.
Well, let's get back into your current music. You're going to play the title song of a record called Tanforan. You want to explain what the song is about, too?
The song is about Seabiscuit, and Tanforan was a racetrack in Northern California where I live now that they closed down in the early 40s, and that's where Tanforan. That's where Seabiscuit set the world's record in time for doing the mile when he was working out in the morning, and so that's where Tanforan comes from.
Seating in the song is Tanforan. It's the one and the only Jon Stewart on the Woodsong's Old Time Radio Hour.
It was post time in the middle. I had my wager in my hand, and I was trying to keep the sun out of my eyes the best I can. And I could hear the cheering from the people in the stands, waiting for the pony who won at Tanforan. He was beaten, he was roughed out, and he was rebuked and he was scorned. He was the horse nobody wanted from the day that he was born. And somewhere deep inside him, yeah, a voice said, I don't give a damn. That broken little pony who won at Tanforan. That broken little pony who won at Tanforan. And there were rainbows in the infield, yeah. There were kids upon the rail. Clark Gable was in the clubhouse with a blonde named Lucy Gale. And there were bookies in fedoras writing numbers on their hands, yeah. For that broken little pony who won a Tanforan. For that broken little pony who won a Tanforan. And you can smell the $10 where the jockeys all parade. And you know they call the horses when you hear the bugle play. And here's to all the losers who gathered wings to fly, like that broken little pony who just looked me in the eye. And he's in the hearts of all the people, every woman, child, and man, yeah. Oh, the broken little pony who won a Tanforan. And he's in the hearts of all the people, every woman, child, and man. The broken little pony who won a Tanforan.